What's up YouTube, and welcome to Talk Malcolm Talks, so let's talk. So yesterday on WWE's Facebook and YouTube, they announced the competitors for the Mae Young Classic. Now there's some pretty obvious picks of who's actually going to win it, but these are mine. The people that I want: Miranda, forgot her last name, wrestles in ROW. Zeta, she's brand new, definitely not going to win. She did like some of my pictures on Instagram, which I think she does for a lot of people, so I'm probably not the only one. And then finally Renee Michelle. Renee Michelle's from DC. I'm from DC. She also wrestled at MCW Pro Wrestling, which is the indie show I always go to. I vlog all the time. She actually was the last person to hold the MCW Women's title before the current holder, who is Melina. The only other person that's competing that I want to win, I believe it's pronounced Kahari Sane. I don't think that's how you really say it. Sane. When I heard about her getting signed to WWE, I watched a lot of stuff with her on the independents. She's very good. I definitely see why they hired her. But who do I think is actually gonna win? For one, Sane, whatever, Candice LeRae, and Tessa Blanchard. So CM Punk was actually talking to ESPN Chicago, and they talked about him coming back to WWE and if there's any return possibilities for him. And he said, not at all.
Never ever. Never ever ever.
Then after that, he went on a mini tangent talking about the lawsuit between him and WWE, or the doctor from WWE. You can play him in the video game, but you know, that's not the same at all. So apparently Enzo and Cass both have heat. If you don't know what heat means, they're in trouble. They did something to cause people to get upset with them. Apparently it's reported that Enzo actually got kicked off a tour bus, and it was Roman Reigns that kicked him off. There's also rumor that he was actually given a mistreatment, as in he wasn't allowed to dress in the locker room with the wrestlers, so he had to go find somewhere else to change. Poor little guy. But this had nothing to do with the breakup between Cass and Enzo. That was already pre-planned. And also Big Cass has a lot of heat, apparently, because there's a lot of wrestlers that are very upset with Cass because he's a Trump supporter. I told you, I live in DC. I live about 15 minutes away from Donald Trump. Positive or negative, how you look at it? Positive, this thing is locked down. I probably got Secret Service in my backyard. Hey, you know what? He won. I'm not even gonna talk about politics. Speaking of politics, The Rock is running for president. He's actually not running for president. He was actually registered to run for president. It wasn't actually Dwayne Johnson, the person that actually nominated or registered himself to run. It was actually an organization called Run the Rock 2020. It's basically like a fangirl club on steroids. They nominated this man to run for president. That's loyalty. You? Loyal. Run the Rusev 2020. I like that. And someone from the organization that was actually interviewed, he talked about it, and he said that they have no affiliation with The Rock. They just did this so maybe The Rock will actually realize that people really want him to be president and that he will actually run. Do I want The Rock as president? No. You know who makes good presidents? Politicians. Why go through the stress? For one, you make a lot less money than you do being an actor, and you know where the new codes are. I couldn't sleep at night if I knew where that is. I have the button that can destroy all of this. I don't want to do that. Too much power. No thanks. These two things actually happened last week. I kind of just wanted to run through it. AJ Styles won the United States Championship. We all know that by now. Do I like it? I like AJ Styles. Don't get me wrong. I'd just rather see Kevin Owens. But it's also reported because Kevin Owens is actually injured. He's actually working injured right now. It makes sense why they took it off him. He was already in a feud with AJ Styles. AJ Styles is maybe gonna win it at Battleground. That's my only problem with it. I don't like seeing Kevin Owens lose. And also on the same day, Austin Aries got released. Ever since he actually came to WWE, I felt like he hasn't been putting on the type of matches that he usually does. That's kind of been my one concern with Austin Aries. You would think because now you're in the big boy leagues that you actually turn it up. But instead, I felt like he turned it a notch down. He wasn't the same Austin Aries that I watched in TNA. Not from like a gimmick standpoint, I mean from like an actual in-ring standpoint. He looked like he toned it down a little bit. That might have been WWE doing it, or maybe that was him. Not sure, but it did seem like he toned it down a little bit. Apparently Austin Aries was really upset that he was actually still in the cruiserweight division. He felt like he could have been doing more, which he could have. Could have been a world champion. Also reported backstage, Austin Aries is a double-A a-hole. He has a bad attitude. People don't like him. I can definitely see that. Also, there's a lot of talk he was actually a problem backstage in Ring of Honor and TNA before, or GFW. Maybe there's some truth to it. He also has a 90-day no-compete clause, so he can't show up in Ring of Honor or GFW or New Japan, which I don't think he's going to New Japan. I feel like GFW's definitely gonna try to get this man back. Mr. Aries, it's a pleasure going to your last ever WWE match, because I was at Extreme Rules. I'm gonna miss your package. And also a match is rumored to happen at SummerSlam or WrestleMania. Kurt Angle versus Triple H. So on Monday Night Raw, Kurt Angle said his lover or whoever appearing on Raw next week with him, and they're gonna tell the whole world. Some people are saying it might be an illegitimate child, or it's actually a secret lover. Heard people say it could be Chad Gable, which I can see, but it's not happening. The two biggest ones going on right now is Stephanie McMahon and Dixie Carter. I'm basing my opinion, if there's actually gonna be Kurt Angle versus Triple H, why in the hell would Triple H care about Dixie Carter? Half the people aren't even gonna know who she is. Why would that lead to Triple H attacking him? Who do I think is gonna be? Stephanie. It just makes no sense. Leo Rush has now signed with WWE NXT. I don't need to run through his accomplishments. I talk about him way too much on this channel. Pretty much every vlog that I've done so far this year has involved Leo Rush somehow. And tomorrow I'm vlogging, he's gonna be there. I don't need to even talk about it. He's going to NXT. It's a good thing. Alberto Del Rio, or El Patron, has been suspended from GFW. Now, he's only being suspended until the investigation with the whole Paige incident gets over. TMZ released a bunch of audio and Paige and Del Rio, they were fighting verbally. There's no actual video of them. Eventually, Paige's brothers actually went on Facebook and they released a statement saying Del Rio actually been beating Paige for the past like 6 months. Honestly, I don't even like Del Rio. Like, I wasn't a fan of him before all this Paige stuff. I don't really care about Del Rio that much. I don't care he's GFW heavyweight champion. Not a fan of Del Rio at all. If there's actually any truth to the whole Paige getting beat up by Del Rio rumors, then the right people hear about it and the right things happen. The only reason they put the titles on him because he's a former WWE star and Lashley's going to do some MMA stuff for a minute. So I'm not surprised. I don't really care. I don't like Del Rio. I had a couple more things I really wanted to talk about, but to save this video from being like 100 minutes, I'm gonna call this segment Rapid Fire. Kevin Kelly's leaving ROH. Dustin is the new PWG champion. Shane Strickland's the new CZW Define 1 and Wrestle Circus champions. Baron Corbin has a soft spot for kids, and yeah, it's a family member, but he showed his belly button. Rebby Hardy takes more shots at GFW because, you know, the whole broken gimmick thing, it's all a mess. And then finally, Kyle O'Reilly debuted in NXT. Tell me in the comments down below, what do you think about this whole Del Rio situation or El Patron situation? I would like to think that he actually doesn't beat her because don't put your hands on a woman, that's just wrong. Hopefully that gives him enough time to actually come up with a new promo that isn't about WWE. You're the one that quit. Why you talking about them? But make sure to like, comment, share, and always subscribe, and we outie.